this won't be nearly as entertaining as the last time, I don't think. But we'll do it anyway. So I'm actually reporting on an integration project that is in process. This is an ArchivesSpace to Drupal 8 integration project. In other words, we are using the Drupal for a public user interface. Drupal is a web-based content management system. And you might be wondering, what are you doing with this? So you all know, at least you recently learned about all the different ways you can look at ArchivesSpace information. ArchivesSpace can expose data through the Seth user interface, the public user interface, but also the API and also the OAI PMH interface as well. Well, what we are going to do is, instead of having the public user interface being the one provided by ArchivesSpace, we are going to use a Drupal content management system that is fed from the API. So staff will still edit their records in the ArchivesSpace staff interface, but the public will interact with it through our Drupal content management system. So of course you might be wondering, why are we doing this in the first place? Well, our library is already using Drupal as the library website. So this is very useful for consistency of interface and also for developer time, because sure, we could learn Ruby as developers, or we could just use our existing Drupal and PHP experience to manage that front-end interface. Drupal is extremely customizable and flexible. You can do all sorts of things with it, anything that you can imagine. And again, we have developers that are very adept at doing this with Drupal. Also, we are adopting the Islandora Claw. This is the next generation of the Islandora repository system that also uses Drupal 8 for its front end. Which means if we can get our ArchivesSpace records into Drupal 8, we can have our digital objects and our archival descriptions in the same place. We don't have to worry about linking back and forth because they're going to be described in the same place as far as the public is concerned. So this is just a demo example thing that I have running right now. You can see I have this archival collections tab, and it just produces a list. And this is extremely easy to modify. This is a very simple interface that someone could say, hey, I want a different column. So they just go in, edit, add a different column. I want this to sort a certain way. Okay, allow it to sort by default a certain way. I want to add JavaScript to make this, flexibly sortable so anyone can switch. Again, very, very easy for our developers or perhaps even the archivists to do themselves to control how they interact. The public will interact with this interface. Click on one of those links and you'll have the LF Manus photographs. I hadn't quite gotten the scope and content note in here yet, but you can see the basics that are there, the identifier, the archival resource key, the dates, the extent note, but also more importantly for our purposes, we have all the related digital objects that are also directly attached to this. It's not pointing to a different system, it's in the same system. So how are we doing this? Well, this is more for the workflow of what we're going through right now. First, we have to define all the content models in Drupal. What does it mean to be a resource? What does it mean to be an archival object? Props to all the ArchivesSpace people who have already done this in ArchivesSpace. We have to copy your work, sorry. Then you have to set up the synchronization, getting all that data via the API. Drupal 8 makes getting content from other systems super simple using their new Migrate API. I've been spending a lot of time with this API, learning it and getting familiar with it. This is also in process of being developed. And then of course, figuring out how we want everything to display. So this is all in process right now. My personal deadline for having this implemented for our library is December. So it is coming fairly soon. And click. So who's working on this? Currently, it's a team of 2. Jason Loeffler, who's an independent consultant and developer, primarily for the American Academy in Rome. He had done an ArchivesSpace to Drupal 7 integration project, which is posted on the integrations list. But there was a significant difference between Drupal 7 and 8, so we have to redo it. But Drupal 8 is also making it easier for us to do it. And of course, I'm helping out as well. Why? Because our library really wants this. But if you're interested in this, or if you have a Drupal website for your own library and want your developers in on this, and they can have some of my labor towards their work, they are free to join us. We would love all the help that we can get. Thank you.